I spoke to the former Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, just in the last hour. He believes that the government is too ambiguous, has been too ambiguous when it comes to this issue specifically. Here's a little of our discussion.
This was a necessary event. There were no other options available to the president. I think President Trump has been very clear about seeking to get an agreement with Iran. This was completely rejected and made it very clear that there was no negotiation now. There was the opportunity for complete capitulation when all other avenues fail. This is a president that I think doesn't wish to rush to these outcomes or to use these capabilities, but if necessary, will. And as a result, a massive blow has been struck against Iran's nuclear capability. But I think in the president's tweet, or ex-post, I should say, he was very clear that now's that time for peace. This is not something that I believe he wants to see widened. If Israel had been capable of doing this, then that would have been the preferred option, no question. Other than to involve, the direct offensive capability of the United States. That would not have been a preferred option. As I said, it became the necessary option. Now Israel will make its own decisions about how it continues to prosecute its conflict with Iran. The many failed interventions, going back to the previous nuclear agreement, none of these have worked in being able to remove this nuclear threat from the Middle East. This has been the most decisive and the most comprehensive action to terminate that threat. And this is not the place that President Trump would rather be. He is not rushed towards this. And further, this is not about the US trying to oppose some sort of regime change. They had a very specific job here that they have undertaken because they were the only ones who could do it. I think there's been far too much ambiguity about this from Australia, far too much ambiguity, and it's time for clarity. And the clarity is we were dealing with a theocratic, authoritarian state that had sponsored an attack on a close friends in Israel back on the 7th of October. And they have shown their true colours. And Iran is not a friend of Australia. It's not a friend of Australians' interests. This is a conflict not with the people of Iran, who are wonderful people, creative, talented, I believe peace-loving people who have been subjected to a terrible regime. And we should be expressing no ambiguity when it comes to Iran. Indeed, the offensive actions taken, when I say offensive, I mean the forward-moving, not anything other than that of the United States. The United States' actions here, I think, are totally justified given the threat that was faced, and there should be no ambiguity in our response. It certainly elevates it, but I believe an elevation that is intended to actually resolve and ultimately bring the temperature down.